There are 2 participants in this conference. Please announce yourself.
This is the 523 Happy Hour with your host, Kelly Lincoln, here on netrootsradio.com. Oh. I am here. And I don't know why. Oh, yeah, it is a sweltering day here in, or evening, morning, whatever, here in New York City. We are in day 2 of a heat wave. And I'm pre-recording this on a Friday, or early Saturday morning. And right now, and like I said, this is being recorded, pre-recorded, because I will be at work when this airs, so it's not coming to you live. It's currently 88 degrees here in Manhattan. However, the heat index at 12:41 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time is 101 degrees. And in my studio, it's 80 degrees. And I'm looking at the indoor-outdoor thermometer on the other side of the studio, away from the windows that face south and the west. So it gets the heat all day long. And the bricks stay hot. And what else is going on here? You got all this heat and other stuff going on. Let me just make some adjustments here. And if you're hearing any background noise, that is I got my air conditioner running. It's been running day and night, and it cools down, and then I open my door, and it gets hot again, and it's just a mess. Last week, you heard a couple of the interviews, or one of the interviews that I did at Netroots Nation with Brianna Titone of 3rd District, Colorado. And it was just a gas meeting her and speaking with her. And Netroots Nation was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to next year and having a bit more money than I had. And it's just the way the things go around here. I rearranged my studio so I can be closer to the mic and have it look more reasonable than it is. And so let me just leave this over here. Basically, all I did was take my laptop and move it to the other side of my desk. I'm left-handed, so now the laptop is at my desk. It's on my left, so my left hand can deal with it. And on my right is my mixer and the microphone. And you can hear it. So, what to talk about today? Besides the heat wave. The heat wave. All this concrete and asphalt in New York City, making it hotter than it needs to be. Climate change isn't helping either. Between the incredible downpours and the heat, tomorrow's going to be a mess for me. Not looking forward to having to walk half a mile. Well, in New York City, 1 mile equals 20 city blocks. And because of the track work on the weekends, I get to walk half a mile up to the next subway station. Hopefully it's not going to be so horribly hot, that is not going to be a probability. Because I would like to actually close my exercise rings on my Apple Watch. That'd be kind of nice, just in principle, to close that one ring, which is the only frickin' ring I never seem to be able to close, no matter how hard I try. Go to the gym, I can't. It's only 30 minutes, but still. Somehow I just never get to 30 minutes. Don't ask me why, but I don't. Maybe because I kind of slack off. before I delve into the actual meat of what I want to talk about, because it's very disturbing, and I want to talk about some other things here. First of all, we have Martin Shkreli. He lost his appeal, so he gets to do the whole 7 years on his hedge fund fraud, and he's going, but I was able to pay some at the back. Don't lock me up for 7 years. Oh, what am I going to do for 7 years? You're going to think about what you did, mother. Have you noticed that all insults revolve around insulting women? You know, I just realized that. Actually, I realized it a while ago. But anyway, Martin Shkreli lost his appeal. And thank God in my genealogy research, I am fortunately not related to him. It's a very, very good feeling. Still kind of jazzed that discovered a it's remote, I will admit that. But still, I got the Marx Brothers and the Three Stooges in my family. Very proud of that fact. Says a lot. Makes me very happy. Makes a lot of the other shit a lot easier to deal with. And you know, I really try. I cannot abide listening to Donald Trump's voice. He's got a specific pattern. It's not a complete monotone. But if you listen to him, he speaks in phrases. And he always ends his phrase on a down. So sad. Don't like. F you. Go home. Go home. Go home with Bonnie Jean. He's just remarkably irritating about him. But one of the things I do know, and I've talked about this before, is that his rallies are not as random as you think. They're designed to redirect the anger and frustration that his base has towards him and the broken promises and the realization they have been played. They are his 2-minute hates.
The horrible thing about the 2 minutes hate was not that one was obliged to act a part, but that it was impossible to avoid joining in. Within 30 seconds, any pretense was always unnecessary. A hideous ecstasy of fear and vindictiveness, a desire to kill, to torture, to smash faces in with a sledgehammer, to seem to flow through the whole group of people like an electric current, turning one even against one's will into a grimacing, screaming lunatic.
Importantly,
And yet the
Umar
rage that one
has
felt
a
was an
history of
abstract,
launching
undirected emotion
vicious
which could be switched
anti-Semitic
from one object to another
rage.
like the flame of a blowlamp.
You notice how seamlessly that went? How seamlessly that went. Now, it was brought up on one of the news shows on MSNBC how the Send Her Back matched the tempo and rhythm of Lock Her Up. And it was also pointed out that that Send Her Back chant began very early. So it's very evident, even with the Lock Her Up, that Thwimp has shills in the audience to lead those chants. plants. Every politician has them, of course. He had to pay people, But they're 2-minute hates. First, he was going off on Hillary Clinton. Then he went off on Representative Ilhan Omar. Ocasio-Cortez, whom he doesn't even respect enough to say her whole name because it's too long. But I can guarantee you, if it was a white person with a hyphenated name, he'd say it. But think of it this way. We have always been at war with Eurasia until we're suddenly at war with East Asia. Always at war. It's an attritionistic war. There's never going to be victory because it doesn't suit the parties. It doesn't suit the nations. It's a mutual thing where the alliances are always shifting. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The friend of my friend is my enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my enemy, is my friend. You shift alliances. The disputed territories in 1984, much like the disputed territories in the Middle East, are never going to be actually conquered, overtaken. No, it's too much. There's too much at stake. Same thing with in 1984, the disputed lands are the Middle East and Africa. What are the disputed lands today? See, here's the other thing, the biggest difference between, and it's very apparent if you are paying attention, which I know you are, even though you will like to not to pay attention, but you pay attention, you will see a pattern. He doesn't attack men, doesn't attack strong men. He loves strong men. He gets on bended knee to strong men, but he is terrified of strong women. They terrify him, which is why he attacks them. He can't get over on a strong woman. Or really on a strong man. I mean, he's playing his base, and the dictators around the world are playing him. And he just thinks he's just the it boy. Well, to the dictators and the tyrants, he's a wannabe. He's a piece of stair work. He's a spintry. So he has to model his behavior, or he tries to model his behavior. But he has no cachet, no strength. He has this one trick. And he's wielding that trick right now. He thought that by supporting Speaker Pelosi against Representative Ocasio-Cortez, Alyssa Presley, Ilhan Omar, and oh my God, I am just blanking out on the fourth representative, that he could split the Democrats. Speaker Pelosi knows that game. And frankly, so do the four representatives he's going after. And his going after them and saying that they need to go back to where they came from is unsettling, because he's testing waters. He's a stochastic terrorist. He's aiming for violence against these women. And I wouldn't put it past him to aim violence towards people like myself, who's a Jew. Because he doesn't consider Jews Americans either. I'm going to play you excerpts from All In with Chris Hayes. I can't remember the year. But that's why you're going to be hearing Hayes' voice as he introduces this. So listen and realize it's anybody who isn't white. And you have to remember that the Irish, the German, the Italian, and the Jew are white by the grace of the United States government. And even though Jews were declared white in the late 70s to drive a wedge between us and African Americans in the civil rights movement, I have never been considered white by anybody in America.
Back in 2015, Trump had this to say to the Republican Jewish coalition.
You're not going to support me, even though you know I'm the best thing that could ever happen to Israel, and I'll be that. And I know why you're not going to support me, and you're not going to support me because I don't want your money. You want to control your own politician. That's fine, good. But I will tell you, think about that, folks. Don't worry about it.
You get it? Don't worry about it. You Jews won't support me because I don't want your money, and you Jews, you like to support and control your own politicians. This weekend, Trump was back in front of the Republican Jewish coalition and back at it. He criticized Congresswoman Ilhan Omar as a hater of Israel just one day after one of his supporters was arrested for threatening to kill her. And more than once, Trump suggested that the American Jews in the audience are loyal to a foreign country.
I stood with your Prime Minister at the White House to recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
You caught that, right? Your Prime Minister. Your Prime Minister. He's talking to American Jews. He's their president. It's an explicit charge of dual loyalty. Trump is literally telling American Jews they consider Benjamin Netanyahu to be their head of state.
Yeah, it's an old trope that I've had to deal with. Deal with for ever. So we're dealing with a creature who doesn't see anyone. I mean, if you want to like go there. He's a frightened little man. One could argue it's only because it's what he learned from his father and from what he read in Hitler's speeches, which, according to one of his ex-wives, he kept maybe the only book he's ever read. But he knows one thing: he's got to stay he has to get reelected because he knows if he doesn't, he will be indicted for a shit ton of crimes. And maybe after this, they will do something about ridding the Justice Department of that memo. So the next president who commits crimes can be indicted. Because I firmly believe without the DOJ indictment, impeachment ain't going to happen. That's my opinion. However, maybe with Mueller testifying next week, that will change. One can only hope. Ugh. But again, I ain't gonna hold my breath. I might snorkel dive, free dive, but I can't hold my breath that long underwater. I was going to talk about reframing that's the other thing. Oh, my fellow progressives, oh, my droogs. You have one of the things that we as progressives and Democrats have to refrain from doing is amplifying him in his Twitter. Every time we retweet one of his screeds, we help him. By retweeting him, we help him, because people who may not, we're showing it to people who may not see it, would otherwise not be seeing it. I don't know if all my followers are maggots or not, if they're haters. I am doing my, I had them on mute, and then I got too curious. I think that's what we should do, is just mute the sucker. You can do that on Twitter. You have an option of just blocking them or muting. And muting is awesome, because what it does is that it's kind of, you're still following. I mean, you can still see the tweet if you're really curious about what the retweet is because of the response. But it doesn't lose follower count. But he doesn't lose followers, and he's very sensitive about that. So, besides, if you do want to see the tweet, you gotta unblock the little pig. You can also block words. You can block his name. You can block names, so you don't see tweets about them. Don't know if you can do that with hashtags or not, but I haven't tried that yet. But again, every time you retweet him, you help him. If you feel a need to respond, reframe his statement as your response. Because he loves to backtrack. Says one thing, says, "Oh, I never said that," even though it's there. Don't believe your lying eyes, your lying ears. It's just the way it goes. Now, like I said, I cannot stand to listen to the man's voice, but I guess I'm just going to have to suck it up and listen to the great orange shit. I'm going to highly recommend that you take a look at the writing of cognitive linguistic George Lakoff. I've talked about him before. I refer to his material, his writings a lot, and in fact, that is where I got every time you retweet him, thwimp. I also got thwimp from Lakoff as well. You help him. So you gotta withdraw that free advertising for him, that airtime, that Twitter time. That we just got to stop that. We got to stop walking. We continually walk into his frame every time we retweet him. The media walks into his frame every time he comes after them. We need to stop walking into his frame. He is very good. Like I keep saying, he spent a lot of money with Tony Robbins to learn how to manipulate language. And I'm going to go back over. This is something that Lakoff wrote. It's downloadable. It's called A Taxonomy of Trump Tweets. And in it, it's a nice little semi-infographic sort of thing. And it's quite useful for breaking down what the little asshole is doing. Thank you, Sandy, for that. And the taxonomy goes like this. This is how he does. These are the steps that he uses. First of all, he does preemptive framing. And the example that was a tweet on January 7th, and it states, he's the only reason the hacking of the poorly defended DNC is discussed is that the loss by the Dems was so big that they are totally embarrassed. Second is diversion. A tweet from January 9th. Meryl Streep, one of the most overrated actresses in Hollywood, doesn't know me but attacked me last night at the Golden Globes. Deflection. Well, preemptive framing is be the first to frame an idea. Diversion, divert attention from real issues. That's what he's doing right now. He's diverting attention with his 2-minute hates. They're not Nuremberg rallies, they're Klan rallies. Actually, they're more like 2-minute hates from 1984. Where in the total third way that he does this is deflection. He attacks the messenger and changes direction. Of course, that's attacking the media. And his attacking the institution to erode the public trust. As long as it's erode the trust in the media and the federal institutions when they're directed towards him. See, he praises the FBI when they take down mobsters and all of that stuff, and El Chapo and. But when it's directed towards him, he has to destroy them. And the fourth is a trial balloon, and he's doing this with his rallies. A trial balloon. How far? It's also known how can I or workshopping. He tests out his frames at the rallies, which is why we have to stop retweeting him, because we are helping him every time we retweet him. Or one of the shows that I love listening to in the morning was annoying the crap out of us in the chat room because they were playing Trump clips, a lot of Trump clips. And they were feeling that the feeling was that the playing of all of these clips of his was helping him. And I could say yes and no, because I don't know how many people, the conservative types, actually listen to this show. We know that there are a few trolls that try to call in, and they become really, really good at spotting them. They recognize the script, the talking points, and it gets sad, really, that the best that these can do is like, both sides, I love both sides, and I'm a conservative, and I just found your show, and lucky you. And you're listening to the 523 Happy Hour here on netrootsradio.com.
Hi, it's Tom. Could we humbly suggest your donation to netrootsradio.com. All we've got to run this 24-hour powerhouse of progressive resistance radio is what comes out of our own wallets. And you are our biggest donor. And it doesn't take much, $3, $5. Just go to the bottom of our netrootsradio.com page and hit our secure donate button. Heck, you can even make a recurring contribution. And you'll get a wondiferous pair of Netroots radio stickers for application to your backpack, your bumper sticker, or your banjo. Well, it's up to you which backpack you want to put it on. So donate what you'd like at the bottom of our netrootsradio.com's homepage. Because you are our biggest donor. netrootsradio.com. Together, we are Resistance Radio.
And we're back. Yes, we are Resistance Radio. You can, and actually your donations is what we run the station on, and be awesome. You can go to our Patreon, and that's Netroots Radio, and we'll find out if I said that right or not when I get a message from my program director. So, I grew up being, I experienced anti-Semitism firsthand growing up when I was in 6th grade. And it began after I did a scene from, or a monologue from Diary of Anne Frank, whom I discovered I am also related to. I just found that out. But at the time I did not know. But I did this, and then there were 3 boys in the class who thought it'd be really fun to Sieg Heil the flag at the Pledge of Allegiance. Nobody did anything about it. This is in liberal California, but then we also had an issue with the John Birch Society wanting to take over and control the school board and the school district. And then it turned in from just a little taunt with the Sieg Heil to being told Hitler had the right idea, to being spat on, having my locker spat on, and finally to physical assault. Now, the school district didn't do, and the principal of the school didn't do jack shit about it. He was too busy playing with a fucking toy boat to do anything about it. There was one day, the housing tract that we lived in, today the houses are worth like $1.4 million. We had a name change, I guess, because Livorno Estates sounded wealthier than people could afford, so they changed it to Paddock Hills. And one morning while waiting for the bus, I was told that I was the reason they changed the name. Like the Jew on the street devalued the property values. And I'm sure I know they heard that from their parents. I know it was what they were taught. But it didn't hurt any less. One day, the man who had been my 5th grade teacher had to come and rescue me, because the school I attended 5th grade at was within distance, and I was up there with my bike and shit, and they came after me, and he stepped in and protected me. I have no fucking idea what they would have done had he not been there. One morning, I woke up and found a swastika on our driveway. Nice liberal California. And it took me quite a while to be able to talk about it without falling apart. It's still traumatizing. I've forgiven, but not forgotten. And so I cannot absolve the Border Patrol for the abject cruelty and inhumane treatment of the children at the border in those camps. And what I want to know is, where are the girls? Why do we not see the girls? Where are they? Have they been trafficked? Is that why we don't see them? Why do we not see the girls? We see the adults, we see the boys, we don't see the girls. Where are they? Now there's something we need to bring back and trend. Where are the girls? Where are the babies? I have a really beautiful Star of David pin that I've been wearing recently because, it's not that far away when I have a feeling that all us Jews are going to be wearing identifiers. But I'm wearing it because I know I can be next. It said, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am not for others. There is an obligation within the Jewish community to care for the stranger. We are admonished, we are reminded time and time again that we are to treat the stranger with respect because we were strangers in a strange land. And we're still strangers in a strange land. We've been accused of dual loyalty by the president. I guess because he considers Jews not real Americans, I can't call him my president. But again, the little asshole. Did I play that blip? Yeah, I did. Where he said that, your country, Israel, your prime minister. And he said this in front of Republican Jews. Some nervous laughter, but gosh, damn it, Lanzmann, Bayezanos. He accuses us of dual loyalty, and you're still going to fucking support him? And you're the same type of Jew that helped march us into the chambers in Germany. Oh, nothing to be afraid of. You don't mean it. They don't mean it. Yes, they do. If a Christian can say, serving you goes against my religious principles because of who you love, and that's protected under the Religious Freedom Act, it's not that far a step that they can say, oh, you're a Jew? I'm sorry, I can't hire you. So it cuts both ways. You cannot. I am frustrated, I am angry, and I am fucking tired of all this shit. But it's how we run. We progressives get to point A, we win our battles, we win the battle, and then we slack off because we thought we've won the war. The right-wingers spent the last 40-odd years fighting. We sat on our asses, and all of our gains are being turned back. And what are we doing? Are we still sitting on our asses? I don't know. Seems that we can only protest on the weekends because of our jobs. So, except for the good folks at the Kremlin Annex. I'd love to be there. I don't have the resources and I cannot afford to lose my job. I work 2 days a week, and don't you know it's the fucking weekends? It's the weekends. I work weekends. And because I was on vacation last week for Netroots, I lost a shit ton of money. Because even though I work 2 days a week, I get a really good wage. And it's good that the House is actually doing work. It's the Senate that's sitting on its ass because of McConnell. And we need to make sure that, and forgive, I want to apologize in advance to all the turtles because it's not fair to them to equate that creature with such a wonderful, noble sea creature as the turtle. He's a know-nothing. He doesn't want to know anything. We have a president who is a know-nothing. He, too, is willfully ignorant, high-status idiot. Think about this. Donald Trump is actually Stephen Colbert's high-status, poorly informed idiot. If you notice, I left out the well-intentioned because he has no good intentions. We're seeing a real trickle-down effect from him. He pisses vulgarity and vileness, and his base drinks it in and pisses it out. Even the ones, it's just maddening. I know I've played this before. Well, but I think it's something that needs to be replayed. It's from Network. I've titled this piece, it's played, again, I can't remember the character's name, but in the film it's played by Ned Beatty. Great actor. And in it, he is, in the scene, it's right after Howard Beale has blown a oil deal up on air. And this is also the speech that drives, that fully in. To preface this, I need to go back and make something. Howard Beale has a vision in his bedroom, tells his friend, that he will know, he says that he saw angels, and that they told him he's a prophet, and that he will know. And in this scene, Howard Beale willfully crosses into madness at the end of this speech.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Beale, and I won't have it. Is that clear? You think you merely stopped a business deal? That is not the case. The Arabs have taken billions of dollars out of this country, and now they must put it back. It is ebb and flow, tidal gravity. It is ecological balance. You are an old man who thinks in terms of nations and peoples. There are no nations. There are no peoples. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West. There is only one holistic system of systems. One vast and immane, interwoven, interacting, multivariate, multinational dominion of dollars. Petrodollars, electrodollars, multi-dollars, Reichmarks, rins, rubles, pounds, and shekels. It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today. That is the atomic and subatomic and galactic structure of things today. And you have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And you will atone. Am I getting through to you, Mr. Beale? You get up on your little 21-inch screen and howl about America and democracy. There is no America. There is no democracy. There is only IBM and ITT and AT&T and DuPont, Dow, Union Carbide, and Exxon. Those are the nations of the world today. What do you think the Russians talk about in their councils of state? Karl Marx? They get out their linear programming charts, statistical decision theories, Minimax solutions, and compute the price-cost probabilities of their transactions and investments, just like we do. We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations, inexorably determined by the immutable bylaws of business. The world is a business, Mr. Beale. It has been since man crawled out of the slime. And our children will live, Mr. Beale, to see that perfect world in which there's no war or famine, oppression or brutality. One vast and ecumenical holding company for whom all men will work to serve a common profit, in which all men will hold a share of stock, all necessities provided, all anxieties tranquilized, all boredom amused. And I have chosen you, Mr. Beale, to preach this evangel.
Why me?
Because you're on television, dummy. 60 million people watch you every night of the week, Monday through Friday.
I have seen the face of God.
You just might be right, Mr. Beale.
And you're listening to the 523 Happy Hour here on netrootsradio.com.
You are listening to netrootsradio.com. We are Resistance Radio.
the beef?
The beef is right here, as I remember to turn my microphone up. And again, one of the remarkable things about Network is its prescience. When it was first written, we hadn't even thought about reality TV shows, and they have them. The Ecumenical Liberation Front goes around robbing banks and making videos of them, home movies of them robbing. So they get a TV show where they, it's all about. It's a satire. Most people don't realize it's a satire on fascism, on the news media. It presaged it prophesied Fox Network. I want angry. I want counterculture. I want opposition. Where it's the perfect movie as far as I'm concerned, as far as a take on the media. And we have sadly become Chayefsky's Yiddish theater-esque vision of media. And I did not get a chance to see Bryan Cranston in the stage production of Network, so I'm not really sure how the corporations mentioned, since it's contemporary, were changed. I would love to see that. I would love to have Cranston's I would love to have that monologue on fascism done. And in fact, in the film itself, members of the Ecumenical Liberation Front do talk about the fascism of Howard Beale and how it's becoming really annoying to them. And in the end, Howard Beale gets canceled and taken out. He gets assassinated on stage he gets assassinated in the middle of his show. And as I said, he's because they make a martyr out of him. Which was, it's a film worth watching again. And I'm going back over to Donald Trump. And I mentioned this in the last time I did it, is that the motto of Trump University is one company, one goal, one culture, which echoes in ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer. One people, one rule, one leader. Company, goal, culture. It's a direct take on that. And we need to remember that his Mussolini stance. And remember, Mussolini was a crappy businessman as well, and we all know what happened to Mussolini at the end of things. And to Mussolini's wife. We need to see the little old Donnie two-scoop squeeze crab thwimp for what he is, a seditious bastard. And we need, like I said, I don't think he's going to be impeached because it's just not there. But they're sure going to try, and I think each try they're going to get closer and closer to what they need. And then he's going to do something remarkably dumb because he's just like that. And maybe, I'm backtracking here, I'm flip-flopping. He will be impeached. And he doesn't need to be convicted in the Senate. Mere fact that he wasn't impeached will be enough. Now, other things could happen in the meantime. He could resign. He could have a massive heart attack. I mean, his diet is shit. Whatever he's snorting could, have an adverse effect on him. A lot of people think he's, sniffing the Adderall. Might be something else. He ain't attention deficit enough for that. But you gotta remember, every time you retweet him, you help him. Don't amplify him, don't help him. Ignore his tweets. Or if you must respond, just respond with an answer and reframe what he's saying. Oh, so you're saying this? Wow, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for Katie Speaks with Katie Klaubasisch, and tune in tonight at midnight for the Late Night Morning Talk Show with Kelly and Ricky here on netrootsradio.com.
This is going to be disaster.